Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. It's the 4th of September today, and for those of us in Canterbury, it's time for us to recall that on this day 3 years ago, we started our series of very significant earthquakes. For the rest of the country, I think most people think, I wish you'd get over it. But actually, as I think Wellingtonians are starting to understand, it's not the quakes that have the huge impact on people. It's the dealing with the bureaucracy. That's been the hardest part. I have a friend who has a T-shirt that says on the front, I survived 10,000 plus quakes, and on the back it said, but dealing with EQC and IAG is killing me. And actually, quite literally, that is the case for so many people. I want to acknowledge the citizens of Canterbury, the emergency services, the military, our social services, our healthcare workers, our community leaders. They have been extraordinary throughout a very, very long and hard 3 years. And I know also for many that this 3-year anniversary today triggers the hardest and saddest of memories for many people in Canterbury. But, Mr Speaker, it wasn't just the people of Canterbury who responded so well in the initial period after both our September and February quakes, looking after each other, even letting cars in ahead of you in traffic, which, as you will know, Mr Speaker, is an extraordinary occurrence in Canterbury. But the way that people in our towns and cities throughout New Zealand, and actually internationally, responded was overwhelming. The outpouring of support for us was huge, and it was greatly appreciated. It came from many people who could barely afford to support themselves, but they were so generous that they supported us in our hour of need. The Prime Minister came to Christchurch, and he said to people in one of the most broken suburbs, he said, nobody will be worse off in Christchurch as a result of these quakes. Those words had huge significance for people. People clung on to that as a commitment from the government that nobody would be worse off. On reflection, I think it was a poorly chosen phrase to use when I guess not many people envisaged the challenge ahead. But the Prime Minister did say that, and people clung to that throughout a lot of hard times. Well, one of the areas where people are worse off is with the offer that the government has made to people who are in the red zone, who have bare land or have commercial property. The government has offered those people in the red zone 50% of the GV, of the RV of their land, the 2007 RV of their land, and they took that offer to court because they didn't think it was fair, and the judge just last week came back and said that's true. That's not a fair offer, and he told the Minister for Canterbury Earthquake Recovery to go back to the drawing board and start again. He also said that the zoning, which has caused such trauma for so many people, was done outside of the law. These are very big and significant issues for people. The Prime Minister was then confronted by media about this Justice Pankhurst's decision overturning the 50% bare land offer and the zoning, and noting the zoning as being made outside the law. And the Prime Minister said, oh, well, we could just walk away. We could say it's been a bit of fun, but now we're over it. And the government could walk away. That expression, Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister saying to Canterburyans that the government might walk away and say it's been a bit of fun, was one of the most insensitive and hurtful and actually cruel comments that he could have made, because actually it hasn't been fun for any of us. If anyone thinks we're bleating, they're wrong. But it certainly hasn't been fun. In the paper this morning, Kendra Street was quoted. She said, I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm frustrated. My government has forgotten me, and my insurance company is slower than snails racing through peanut butter. And she doesn't speak alone. She said, this isn't what I wanted for my child, but it's what I've got. I cannot blame Mother Nature. We survived the quakes. It's our government and our insurance company's lack of empathy, the stalling that is making us stressed. What she said is, I want a warm house to live in. I want my child not to be afraid of our arguments or the dark. I want not to fight with my husband about money, the insurance, and when to turn the heater on. Kendra Street said, I want my life back. Her son was just 22 months old. He's nearly ready to start school. Mr. Speaker, the difference between the first quake whose son, 22 months old, now about to go to school, and no progress, it's time for the government to step up and help.
Katrina Shanks.
Mr. Speaker, it's my pleasure to take a call in this general debate today. On September the 15th, the Weird and Wacky reality TV show has its finale.